Alright, I'm back here. The pit road speed limit doesn't end till right here. Got some issues, how to deal with it. And your blue cone is to the right of this white line by the grass, right there and onto the lap. Alright, fix it up, fix weather. Track temp of 110 or something like that. Fix it up, only change I made was a steering ratio to a 287. That's my usual. Brake bias down to 50. Master cylinders both to a 2732. And there you go. Nothing else. Alright, I guess that's it, I guess. We'll just see how I did this lap and then we'll talk about it. Alright, there you have it for a 128.8. This is all post-commentated, by the way. Alright, so we're going to make our way to 1, which is way down this really long straight. And we're going to be looking at the left here at 3 signs. Basically, the first 3 here. The 800, 700, 600. Bring up the old teleprompter. You can see those 3 there. Now I'm braking somewhere in between the 700, 600, maybe just after the 700. Lots of brake, too, like threshold braking. And I'm going to downshift from 4th gear. And we're just going to make our way down to 2nd. You can go to 1st if you really want. As you can see there, that's what gear I'm in. Like I said, this is all post-commentated, so some things might not line up. Alright, so once we turn in, we're going to trail brake a little bit. As you can see there, I kind of overemphasized a lot of this, but might as well get the point across instead of not across at all. So you want to get as close to that curb. That's one of those ones you don't want to hit. I'm in 2nd gear still. Get as close to this inner curb. You can see I'm aiming straight for the next one. You want to straighten up your wheel where I'm at right now. That's where we want to point straight. Get a nice launch there. Follow the corner as usual. We're going to use some brake right here just to get the car nice and centered up with that outer curb. And once it touches that curb, we're going to let it kind of roll to the inside. Get as close to the curb as you can. On throttle. Here's another little section. Right, we're looking at the curbs here on the left. Sort of a chicane. Now you can almost full throttle it, but not exactly. You can see I'm in 2nd gear still. I'm going to shift up to 3rd. Closer we get to it. And I'm going to kind of... It's another one of these curbs you really don't want to hit, but you can if you hit it nice and straight. And lift off the throttle to let it bounce into place. So let's make our way into the next corner. It's going to be hard on the brakes again. A lot of threshold braking. We're in 4th gear again. And we're going to go downshift all the way to 2nd. Another optional 1st. And I'm braking what you see... We're pretty much right there in between those 2 markers. Hard. Downshifting to 3rd, 2nd. Get really close to the grass here because we're going to turn in kind of late but nice and perfect, I would say. This is one of those curbs that you want to avoid hitting because it will bounce you. And here you can see parts you can cut or can't cut. The parts in the red there are sections that some people had trouble with. You don't want to go through there. That's why it was there. Here you want to kind of hug these curbs close as you can. Use the throttle and brakes respectively to help you get through there. And here, get as close to that gray area as you can without hitting it, which again, you can see is the red zone. You can't go through there without getting a slowdown. Use all the track as well. Once you get center off, on throttle, we're going to shift up to third gear as soon as we make our turn into this corner. Now here's the tricky part, because there's banking involved. No banking, you want to brake as straight as possible. You can see, once I got the steering straightened, I'm aiming right at that symbol there, that sign, but I'm already hard on the brakes, so the minute that wheel's straight, be as hard as possible on your brakes. Alternatively, you can just go to the right a little bit, kind of straighten it out that way. You can see I'm hard on the brakes here. Downshift to second gear. Another optional first gear, but if you don't do it right, you'll lock up the rears. Turn in, another curb that you want to avoid, almost identical to turn 1. Here you want to swing out just a little bit to set up your arc in, but you also want to be as tight to this curb as you can get without scrubbing speed off, which I kind of did there. So hard on the throttle again. Careful, it could spin up. Third gear. And we're going to shift to fourth once we get on the straight. Really tricky to get the power down there, by the way. That's one of those tricky corners. And there you go for your 28.8. Alright, this was a weird track guide. Audio issues at first. You might still hear some of it in this. So I had to do things in text. But, I don't know, hopefully I was good enough because it's a tough track to, I guess, get the rhythm down. Anyways, sim racing chewy side.